All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and preview Saints Bucs Week 2 in the Dome. I will be in the arena. I will be at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, live and in color. So I'll be watching this game as close as you can get to the action. But let's go ahead and kind of look at what's setting up here. This is an interesting game because there's so much unknown about both teams. Like, both teams come into this after a week 1 where neither team really showed us anything. Right, like the Bucs had a weird kind of win, kind of a weird dominant win. It didn't look very good, but they didn't have to because Dallas was so bad. And then the Saints looked awful for 3 quarters, and then turned it on to narrowly escape a game that they should have won easily. So both teams are coming in off a win. Tampa played it at Dallas, so Tampa has back-to-back road games. New Orleans played at Atlanta, so they are traveling back, are back home by now, and will have their first home game. So the line opened, if we can see, I think the line opened 2 or 2.5, and has sat there pretty much the entire week. It looks like that they're kind of afraid for it to get to that 3. I highly doubt. Maybe at the very end there could be some Tampa Bay money, but I doubt it. I doubt they move it to 3. If it moves to 3, I'll probably have a slice on the Saints just because I'll be there. But 2.5 doesn't really tickle me. Over under 44.5. It's pretty much sat there all week. That's kind of where I'm interested. Okay, so the way that I look at games to bet, but also just kind of like previewing these games, is to figure out the flow of the game, to figure out what each team is going to try and do. Now, the Bucs normally would be, like, if this was last year Bucs, we'd say they're going to try and spread it around. They're going to try and throw the ball. They're going to try and, let Tom Brady just light it up. But the Bucs really don't do that. They really don't do that. If we take the Dallas game and we use that as like a gauge, a Russell gauge, as some would say, it doesn't look like they're doing that. It looks like Todd Bowles is much more of an old school kind of run the ball, establish the run kind of guy. And we'll look at the stats from Dallas to try and justify that. But real quick, also, another reason to think that they won't spread the ball out and throw it is because Russell Gage is hurt, Rashad Perryman is hurt, Mike Evans is hurt, Julio Jones is hurt, Chris Godwin is hurt. All their receivers are hurt. Godwin's not going to play. Evans is questionable to doubtful. Julio is questionable to doubtful, but Godwin isn't going to play. So let's just say that let's say they play, but they're banged up. Okay, let's say none of the receivers are above 75%. If that's the case, then why would they say, all right, well, this is a perfect opportunity to throw the ball 60 times, right? Let's go ahead and take a look at last week. Because last week, as I was watching, I think I talked about this on Twitter, but as I was watching the game, I was like, man, they are running the ball a lot. Like, usually Tampa's one of those teams that if it's 1st and 10, they'll throw it. If it's 2nd and 3, they'll throw it. If it's 3rd and 1, they'll throw it. They're okay to throw because they have Tom Brady, right? So, yeah, look at this. They had 27 passing attempts. Now, again, they didn't have to throw because of how abysmal Dallas was. But still, the game really didn't get out of hand until the 4th quarter. It was still a tight enough game to where they weren't just coasting. They only threw it 27 times and ran it 33 times. So this is one of the few times. Let's see if we can look at the Bucs. I wonder if we can do this. Look at the Bucs from last year quickly, because let's just look at a game from last year. Okay, so they played Dallas last year. So let's look at this box score. I have a feeling it's not going to be anywhere near what we just saw. Okay, so last year they threw it 50 times and ran it 14 times against the same team. Let's pick another game. Let's pick another one because I'm sure it's going to be more of the same. Because I know Bruce Arians is much more of a West Coast kind of guy. Let's pick just some random game towards the end of the year where, okay, so we assume this game is going to be close, right? We assume this game is going to be close, so let's pick a close game. We can pick, let's pick the Jets game here, 28-24 or Buffalo. Let's do Buffalo because Buffalo's a better team. The Jets are whatever. All right, so against Buffalo, Bills a good defense. They threw it 46 times and ran it 29 times. and 7 of those runs was Tom Brady, which I would assume. So let's take those out. So they ran it 22 times and threw it 46 times in an overtime victory against a very good team. Let's look at a Saints game. Why not? So obviously the 9-0 one sticks out. The 9-0, Brady threw it 48 times. They ran it 21 times. Y'all see what I'm saying here? This is a very different Bucs team. Let's do the other Saints game. Let's do the Saints game in New Orleans. Or let's do the one in New Orleans. Where's it at? Here it is. Okay. So this one, Brady threw it 40 times, and they ran it 14 times. Okay. So I think that's pretty clear that we have a very different Buccaneers philosophy, a very different Buccaneers mindset from their coaches of what they're trying to do. And what they're trying to do is establish this run. It's weird because they have Tom Brady basically at the end of his career, right? Who knows how much longer Tom Brady's going to play? I mean, for God's sakes, he retired a month ago. So it's not like they have any reason to do this. It's not like a Peyton Manning situation where at the end of his career he was trash and he was kind of cooked and he was just game managing. Tom Brady led the league last year in passing touchdowns and I think passing yards. So he still has the ability to throw it. So I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I guess Todd Bowles is an old school defensive coach, and he's going to run an old school offense. So just that alone makes me think that points are going to be hard to come by in this game because Tampa Bay, you would think, is the better offense. You know, like the more consistent offense. They have more returning players. They're former Super Bowl champion. So if they are not providing that many points and they are running the football, then I would assume that points are going to be hard to come by. So I kind of like the under. Let's think about it from the Saints side. All right, now I understand the theme that, New Orleans always plays the Bucs tough. New Orleans always has Tom Brady's number. Unless you can tell me why, those don't do me any good, right? Like Tom Brady doesn't have, the Saints don't have voodoo against Tom Brady. Tom Brady isn't always, see, like right here, should Tom Brady fear the Saints? That is Tom Brady in trouble against the Saints? And I guarantee you, all of these videos are saying it was a 9-0 win last time they played. Tom Brady can't get anything going against the Saints. But there's no actual reasoning to why. Dennis Allen isn't the only guy in NFL history that can possibly solve Tom Brady. That's not the case. So I need more than just, Bucs Saints have to win. The way I'm looking at it is you have a Saints team who doesn't trust Jameis Winston at all. And they're playing a Buccaneers team that defensively does exactly what the Saints do not want. Exactly what the Saints do not want to deal with is what the Bucs do very well defensively. All right, so defensively, what the Saints don't want to see is a team that completely shuts down the run. Number one, that's the first thing, because they want to get the run going. They want to get Kamara going. They want to get Taysom Hill going. Unfortunately, the Buccaneers completely shut down the run and have been shutting down the run for multiple years now. What the Saints also don't want, the Saints don't want linebackers who are fast enough to not have mismatches against Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill and other players who get lined up in weird situations. Kamara is at his best when he's a mismatch lining up against linebackers when he can get out in the screen passes or start running routes and get involved in the pass game. Devin White might be the best linebacker in the NFL at playing against this style. Okay? So that's already not a good situation for the Saints. So to me, and Alvin Kamara is banged up. So let's say Alvin Kamara is equal to all the Buccaneers' weapons. They're all banged up. Okay? That gives more credence to this idea that there probably won't be many points scored in this game. So the first thing I'm going to say to do here is I'm more than likely going to be on this under 44.5. And I don't think it's going to move. I don't think it's going to move one way or the other. I just can't see that. So to me, this is just a classic cagey divisional game where it's going to be a very cagey affair. You have two defensive-minded coaches, two teams that know each other very well, two coaches that are going to be incredibly safe. Games like this, I tend towards like field goal props and things like that because I think Dennis Allen, if he gets in the red zone, it can get kind of basic in this game, and Tampa Bay's defense is so stout. Flip it to the other side, I think Todd Bowles has proven that he's going to be very conservative, and the Saints defense is very stout, and the Saints are at home. So I can see a lot of red zone stops. I can see a lot of field goals. I can see a lot of long drives. I can see a lot of running the ball into a wall because if Tampa wants to run 30 times this game, if they want to run it that much, the Saints are a good enough defense where that's probably not going to work very well. Flip side, if Dennis Allen is dead set on running the football against Tampa, you're running your head into a brick wall. So if both teams are just running, and this happens a lot too with old school style teams, and as you watch games and you notice the coaches who do this, you'll see a lot of coaches who go in and they say, we are going to establish the run. And they run on first down. They don't get anything. And then it's 2nd and 8. And then all of a sudden it's 3rd and 8 or it's 3rd and 7. And then they're in long third down conversions. So their third down conversion rate plummets. So then all of a sudden you have two teams who are not converting third downs, who are not getting a high clip of yards per play. And that equals a lot of punts. And then, like I said, there's two good defenses too. It's not like these are bad defenses. So I do think what we're going to see here is a very cagey affair. You're going to see a very slow game. It's not going to be a ton of shots. It's not going to be a ton of stretching the field. What I hope we don't see from a Saints side of things. So that's how I would attack this game betting wise. Betting wise, I would attack this game unders. I would attack this game in Leonard Fournette being involved a lot because he's the only player that's left. You know, like you can't trust Julio Jones or Mike Evans or any of these players because they might not play. And if they do play, they're going to be limited. So Leonard Fournette is going to get a lot of work here, whether that's in the passing game or in the rushing game. So I would look at his overs. Now, unfortunately, Leonard Fournette had a really good game last week. So his numbers are going to be inflated. So, yeah, let's take a look at Leonard Fournette last week. So Leonard Fournette had 127 yards on the ground, 21 attempts, averaged 6 yards a carry. That'll drop, so that'll go down. He also he only had 2 catches. I actually thought he had more than that. But he had two targets and 2 catches. So I could see that go up. I could definitely see that go up. Cameron Brate is another player who I think could be involved a lot this game. Cameron Brate is kind of Brady's bailout. Brady's bailout guy. I mean, 3 targets here. I can see him being, if Evans is out, Godwin is out, if these guys are limited, the receptions have to go somewhere. Also, will Brady complete more than 18 passes? You got to think about that. So I look at those 2 players. Saints side of things, tough to tell because, what are they going to do? Are they going to lean more on passing the ball? Because on one token, I would think they cannot run the ball. They will not be able to run the ball. So if they can't run the ball, I don't want to look at tickets. If they can't run the ball, then they have to throw. So if they're going to throw, what are they going to do? I would say they're not going to just take deep shots, so they're going to dink and dunk. How are they going to dink and dunk? Alvin Kamara is the first one you think of. But then you think, well, what if he's hurt? So then it's like, well, if he's hurt, are they just going to throw to Michael Thomas? Are they going to try and get Mark Ingram more involved? So I think about it on that side. But the Saints props are kind of disgusting. Now on the Saints side of things, let's just talk about take betting out of it. The Saints need to do what they did in the second half, and that sounds very obvious. I don't mean from a production side. I mean just from a game plan side. I think they should come out and they should pretty much say, all right, Jameis, we're going to get you where you're comfortable, and we're going to get you throwing the football. We're going to get you spinning the pill. We're going to get you where you need to be comfortable throwing for 250, 300 yards a game and being our guy. Jameis cannot be a game manager. I don't think so. I don't think he can be a game manager and make this team work. He has to be a big part of this offense. He has to be a guy that we're confident in throwing the ball 30-something times a game or going and winning us a shootout. Jameis cannot be. This offense cannot be this slow, plodding, old school offense. It isn't built like that. It isn't set like that. That's not who the personnel on the team are. We have to be able to get Jameis comfortable in using those weapons. Getting Michael Thomas the ball. High volume targets to Michael Thomas. Getting Alvin Kamara involved in the passing game. He has to be able to do that to then make the defense respect the pass enough that they're not loading up the box. And then Kamara and Ingram can take advantage on the ground. Taysom Hill can do his thing. So I want to see, and I know it's tough because Tampa's such a good defense, but I want to see Jameis establish himself in this game. Because this is his game. I mean, not to mention that this is kind of a revenge angle or kind of a proving ground for Jameis. You know, Jameis against his former team. His first year as the guy. His first year as the unquestioned leader of this team. His first year with the keys to the Lamborghini. Jameis versus Tom Brady in the Dome. The whole city's behind him. A relatively full-strength team. You know, last year, obviously, like if this was the situation that he wouldn't have the wide receivers he has right now, he wouldn't have any of the weapons. Kamara, the only one, but he's got Michael Thomas, Chris Olave. He's got all these players available. So this is Jameis's biggest moment. His biggest moment. So I'm really focused on what we do offensively. I really want to see offensively how we handle this. I don't think Tampa, defensively, I'm not worried about it. I don't think we're going to hold Tom Brady to 0 points every time we play him. I don't think we're going to hold Tom Brady to 10 points every time we play him. I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Brady got his. If the Bucs got into that 17 to 21 to 24 range, I wouldn't be shocked. Okay? But I don't want to see I don't want to see us be Dallas. Is basically my main thing. I don't want to see us look the same way Dallas looked against the Bucs, where the Bucs score 10 points and the game's over. And we're just punting and we're just not doing anything. I do not want to see that. I do not want to see a basic game. I don't want to see first down run, first down run, first down run. I don't want to see 2nd and 1 run 90% of the time. I do not want to see that. I don't want to see punting when we should be going for it on 4th down. I don't want to see scared play calls. This is the game where you got to let it out. You got to let it rip. We got to see what the team is made of. That's how I'm looking at. That's what I'll be looking at in the Dome, Crown and Sprite, running through my veins. Running right through my veins. Bloody Mary first, into the Crown and Sprites. And I'm telling you this right now, I'm going to be hitting it hard. I'm going to be willing this team to victory. I cannot wait. But that's how I see this game going. In summation, a cagey affair, slow affair. I hate betting unders, specifically when I'm watching the game, because then it's hard to root for anything to happen. You don't want, you don't want to bet unders, especially like player props and stuff, because then you're watching the game and you're secretly hoping nothing happens, which makes for a miserable experience. And when something good happens, you kind of hate it. Like I quit betting against the Saints in the Dome because it was actually the Bucs game with Trevor Siemian. It's whenever it was the Bucs game last year, because we won, and leaving the Dome, everyone was so pumped. Everyone was so happy. I think we won like a pick 6 or something.
2nd and 10. They bring it. It's picked up, giving Brady time, and he's intercepted. P.J. Williams still going all the way.
I think let me go back and look at that. I'm pretty sure we won on like a pick 6, and the Dome was going absolutely bananas in pajamas, and I was just sulking in my seat. And once that happened, I was like, you know what? Never again. Never again am I doing this, because I want to be able to root. I want to be able to do all that. Let's see. Yeah, that's what it was. So it's exactly what it was. So it was 29-27. Saints were winning. Bucs were moving the ball. Bucs throw a pick 6. Saints win. Yeah, Saints win 36-27. And I was, not very happy. And so that when that happened, I was like, you know what? Never. I'm never mixing and matching. What the heart desires. So that's how I'm looking at this. The bets that I would be looking at tomorrow I can already tell you right now, I'm going to be looking at no score in the first like 6 minutes or whatever the number is. I'd probably be looking at like Tom Brady under passing yards. I'd probably be looking at Leonard Fournette overs, depending on what the rushing yards are, depending on what the catches are. Maybe Michael Thomas overs, get him involved some more. Those are probably maybe Ingram rushes. Probably not though, because the Bucs defense is so strong. I probably won't touch any Saints overs besides like a Michael Thomas or maybe like a Johnson reception, something like that. Just because Winston is going to be, I think, checking down a lot. So I could see those. Definitely the under of the game. If the Saints get to 3, I'd probably do that. But that's what I'm looking at right now. So that's my breakdown for this game. We will obviously review the game afterwards, but I wanted to put this out there just in case I'm completely right on the entire thing, and which more than likely will happen. This game to me has like 23-20 kind of written all over it. You know, like a 2017 kind of situation. I think it's going to be real tight and should come down to the wire. So it'll be fun to watch. Thank you for watching this video. We've been pumping out like a video a day. So we're kind of, like I said, we're kind of back. So it feels kind of weird back in the saddle again, kind of doing this. It's a lot of muscle memory as far as like, you know, clicking buttons and turning stuff on and getting stuff set up. I remember doing it so much and for so long. And after taking a little bit of a break, it does feel weird. This was kind of a test run this week. Just kind of getting videos out, getting everything set up, getting our system to, you know, going. Next week, we'll probably be pumping out more content as far as like, you know, stuff on Twitter and Instagram and maybe TikTok. We'll see what happens. And maybe next week we'll start sprinkling in some streams because if this is basically would just be a stream and then I would cut it up later. So we may start getting into streaming and stuff like that. I got ideas, guys. So thank you for watching the videos, commenting, all that stuff. I appreciate it. And who dat, guys? Who dat?